Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
The Rockin' Review is thrilled to have on singer, songwriter, performer. You know her hit songs, as she's got a brand new album coming out, Joan Osborne. Joan, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric.
It's good to see you. You know, it's so funny because I did not realize until I started getting ready that you were from Anchorage, Kentucky.
That's right. I'm a Kentucky girl, born and raised.
Yeah. And so, but it's like, but also bouncing your time between there and New York, it's kind of like, you know, that whole split travel thing. And besides, you're always on the road now.
Well, I mean, recently we have gone back out and we are now on tour. So, you know, but of course, with COVID the last couple of years, that's been really curtailed. So I have spent a lot of time at home. I have a little farmhouse in upstate New York, and that's where we've kind of been hiding out for most of this time. So, yeah, but I do have family still in Kentucky, and I do go back there whenever I can.
Well, speaking of which, you got a brand new album that's coming out towards the end of February. I thought it was very cool that it's February 22nd of 22, so it's 2/22/22, and it's radio waves. And you got to tell me how you came up with this cool concept to pull from hundreds of different performances over the years and distill it down into this new album.
Well, you know, like I said, during COVID, I was forced to stay home in a way that I haven't been, you know, for a long, long time. I mean, we're talking decades, you know, so I ended up doing a lot of cleaning, and I went into closets that I hadn't seen the back of for, you know, many years. And I found all of these old recordings, you know, just many, many CDs and files and tapes. And a lot of them were from radio visits that I had done over the years. Because, I mean, you know the drill. When you have a new record, you go to all these different towns on tour. Every town you stop into the radio station, you talk to the DJ, you play some of the songs live on the air. And so I had, you know, hundreds of songs from over many, many years from things like that. And also things like a demo of a song that I did and then just kind of forgot about and put away. And so it was a lot of, you know, rare things and live things. And I thought, well, you know, I'm not writing a lot of new songs in this pandemic moment. I know a lot of people are, but I'm not really doing that. So maybe this is a great way to have something new for the fans, and also to just kind of take a little trip down memory lane. You know, it's like a little time capsule of these different performances over the years.
Well, you know, and I love the new single, Shake Your Hips. And it's like, you know, one of the things I've always enjoyed about your presentation and performances, Joan, is just your great voice. And you're not really locked into any one style. I mean, you know, sometimes you're considered, you know, country and funk and rock, and you kind of dance between all. You know, I certainly personally enjoy your blues performances. This one kind of feels like rockabilly to me.
Huh. I think you're the first person to use that word, but yeah, it's a Slim Harpo song. So it comes from just, you know, that blues side of what I love to do. And, you know, I mean, I've sung all my life, but when I started to get into it seriously in my 20s, I really became a huge blues fan and became just such an admirer of people like Etta James and B.B. King and Howlin' Wolf. And, you know, that to me, that kind of emotional intensity and that kind of swagger I was just like, I want to do that, you know? And so this Slim Harpo track, Shake Your Hips, is kind of a throwback to that part of what I love doing.
And I think it's a great way also to bring back to life a lot of these artists, blues artists that people may not know, may not have been connected with. You and I grew up listening to, but, you know, people may not know the name Slim Harpo, but it's like, you know, what a great way to bring that music back to life.
Yeah, well, Slim Harpo, I think, was aware of that because he name checks himself in his song just to make sure that you don't have any confusion that it's him. For me, I love so many different kinds of music. And when you start to get into, you know, American roots music in particular, you realize that all of those different strains, whether it's gospel or blues or country or jazz or Appalachian music or whatever it is, they're all connected in some ways. And it's really hard to find a place where, you know, where does country music end and blues begin? Where does blues end and jazz begin? You know, there really is no definite category. So I just felt like why limit myself? Why not just let me follow my heart and do what I love?
I think you've done that so well, also appearing in the movie Standing in the Shadows of Motown that you were in. And some people will probably forget that you were also on a Dolly Parton tribute.
That's right. Yeah, there was a beautiful Dolly Parton tribute record that came out. I guess it was the late 90s. And I did this song, Do I Ever Cross Your Mind, which is such a beautiful, heartbreaking song. And I did the song and the record came out and it was lovely. And then I got this amazing, beautiful letter from Dolly herself. And just being so, everyone, of course, knows that she's like a saint, but I had never met her personally. And she took the time to write me this beautiful letter of how much she appreciated my version of the song. And it just brought tears to my eyes, just her letter. It was so lovely. So that's a real special memory for me.
I got to bring this up, with all of your incredible, touring and your albums and everything. I certainly loved your last album that came out in 2020 also, before everything got crazy. But your solo work, with Radio Waves, to me, I just think this is a fun concept. When I first read that, I thought how great is that? Because, so many artists, Joan, like yourself, who go and do the radio tours and you're doing these songs, doing performances, and those just kind of get lost. And for you to cultivate those and go through over 100-something performances and then cull it down to what you're putting out with this album, what a blast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm normally my own worst critic. So I'm not a person who loves to go back and listen to live performances because I usually hear only the mistakes that I make. And, that can be useful. Oh, I need to improve this. I need to switch that. But it's also it's a little bit painful. You're like, oh, I suck. I'm terrible. But, going through all of these much older recordings, I think I had that sort of perspective. It's kind of like looking at pictures of yourself when you were in high school or something. And back then you thought, oh, I'm so ugly. I'm this, I'm that. But then you look at yourself, at the vantage point of many years later, and you're like, I was so cute. What was my problem? So I think I'm appreciating these tracks in a way that I would not have been able to at that time, and just understanding what's really beautiful and what's really cool and what's really fun about them, and not being so judgmental. And, maybe I didn't hit a perfect note here, but, overall, it's just, I think the quality is really, really high. And because we did them in these radio stations, which, as you know, have really high, technical standards, the recordings themselves are really, really good quality. As a live performer, I always remember the moments when, you forget a lyric and you are like, okay, well, I forgot that one. Let's start that verse again. The audience loves that kind of stuff because they do want to see, they don't need for you to be this perfect sort of, robot. They want to see your essence and you as a human being.
Well, and I got to bring this up too, with Radio Waves coming out, obviously there's going to be more singles. Will there be videos or anything else rolling out? Obviously a tour.
Well, we're hoping to do that. Yeah, there's another song from Radio Waves that's coming up as a single, and we're talking right now about what to do about that video. The first song that came out was called Real Love, and that was from an old demo of a Toshi Regan song that I did years ago, and we did do a video with that. We've got a video for Shake Your Hips, so we're hoping to make it 3 for 3 and put another video out too. We're just working that out now.
I got to ask you this too, Joan. Do you do anything special? You have such a unique, full voice. Do you do like special how do you keep your voice sounding this great for this many years?
Well, it gets harder as you get older, surprisingly. Yeah, I can't, drink alcohol on the road. I have to get enough sleep. I have to eat good food. I have to, do my yoga. I have to do my vocal warm-ups for like 45 minutes or an hour before a show. It's, it's a discipline at this point in my life. But if I don't do that, then I really feel it during the show. And, I want to feel like I'm able to give my best to an audience for me and for them. So it's worth it to put in the time.
Well, I'll tell you what, we certainly appreciate it. And you still sound amazing. I love the new album, which is releasing February 22nd of this year. And we're going to see more singles and videos. Joan Osborne, thank you so much for coming on the Rock Interview.
You are so welcome. It's really a pleasure. It's nice to see you again.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.